Hi, I'm Todd Heitkamp, the owner of Dakota Angler here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, with this week's 2-minute fishing report. Well, folks, to say the least, we had another hot weekend this past weekend, temperature-wise, and that really determined the amount of time people were spending out on that body of water, whether or not it be the lake or the river. A lot of people definitely came back looking like red tomatoes, to say the least, and that's an important thing to remember, folks. Your sunblock. Don't forget that. People forget that that glare off that body of water is pretty intense, and so you need to protect your skin from that, and so sunblock works great. Also a sun bandit. They're becoming more and more popular. They keep you cool, they're breathable, and they protect your skin from the sun. So again, stop on by and take a look at the sun bandits, or at least we also have the sunblock on hand as well. Speaking of hot, honestly, the walleye bite was pretty hot in some areas, especially down in the southeastern part of the state. But up in the northeastern part of the state, some of the lakes that produce walleyes included Bitter, Wabae, Horseshoe, Big Stone, Indian Springs, Enemy Swim, Roy, as well as Dry Lake by Florence. And then down in the southeastern part of the state, and that good bite continues in many areas. Those lakes included Whitewood, Dry Lake by Willow Lake, Ponset, Thompson, Albert, Henry, Sinai, 81 Ponds, Madison, mainly on the west side, and that's really greening up quite a bit now, and then also Twin Lakes, which is the trophy lake. Now, how are guys catching fish? A lot of people now have resulted, or kind of changed over, I should say, to crawlers and leeches, and they're using bottom bouncers with spinners, whether or not it's one hook for leeches and the two hook for crawlers, and then also the slow death rig really has taken over this past week as far as producing fish. And then as far as the perch bite is concerned, lakes that produce perch include Thompson, Big Stone, Ponset, as well as Dry Lake by Willow Lake. And then crappie were being caught at Thompson, Ponset, Sinai, as well as Henry by Scotland. What have guys been using to catch those crappie and perch? Mainly small pieces of crawler or small minnows. And then the jigs, any small jig works really well, as well as the infamous Shiny Hiney. In this week's version of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to talk about bottom bouncing because, as I mentioned in the report, that seems to be the main method that a lot of people are having success out there in the lakes this past week. So let's talk about it because a lot of people really don't understand how to use a bottom bouncer. And the main thing is making sure that you figure out what weight you want to use as far as a bottom bouncer. The main thing is that you want this bottom bouncer to be purely vertical, directly underneath your boat. You don't want to be behind the boat because then that means it's going to be at an angle and that's going to cause the spinner to drag on the bottom of the lake. So you want it purely vertical. And so you're going to have to adjust this weight based upon the speed that you're trolling as well as the speed of the wind or how fast your boat is moving. So again, typically on average people will use an ounce to an ounce and a half. Some people will use a 2 ounce. You can always start heavier and then get lighter as time goes by. But let the conditions tell you what weight that you want to use for a bottom bouncer, and also the depth of the water will also help you determine that as well. And then as far as the spinner is concerned, the length of the snell is very critical for you on the day that you're out there fishing. Sometimes the walleyes will want a longer snell, want to get further away from the boat, so maybe a 6-foot snell is appropriate. Other days you may want to have a shorter snell. All of our spinners are tied up with a 4-foot snell. Sometimes I even shorten that up to be even a 2 or a 3-foot snell. Again, I let the fish tell me what they are actually wanting. And then also the color and size of the blade. A lot of times with bright conditions, I'll use a bright colored blade. On a darker or stained body of water, I'll use a darker blade. But again, I don't ever have the 2 or 3 rods all using the same color blade or size blade. I'll use different ones until I determine what pattern and what the fish are really wanting on that particular day. So again, there's a number of things that come into play in determining your success out there on that body of the water with bottom bouncing. The size of the bottom bouncer, the length of the snell, and the color of the blade. And now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. And remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version of the 2-minute fishing report, please send it to me. Send it to Todd@DakotaAngler.com or post it to our Facebook wall. And if I use your photo, your name will be entered into a monthly drawing for a $25 gift certificate. Well, folks, before we end this week's report, I want to remind you that if you're looking for a half flat or a full flat of crawlers or even a half pound or a pound of leeches, give us a call to reserve your bait order today. Give us a call at 605 336-9132. And remember, we'll pack your crawlers and bedding absolutely free, but make sure you tell us that when you reserve your order. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report. For Dakota Angler, I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! We'll see you next week, and again, thanks for watching.